Friends, which one do you think is going to perform better? Your fancy Gore-Tex jacket or just a plain 100% wool anorak? Which do you think will keep the toilet paper roll that I've got in there drier longer? Hey friends, welcome back. I am Jason and today is a nasty rainy day and I absolutely love weather like this, and I thought what would be a fun experiment is to test a modern material like Gore-Tex against a very not modern material such as wool. What I'm wearing right now is 100% wool cloak. It's an anorak. It's a hooded bush shirt, whatever you want to call it. That's what I'm wearing. It's just 100% wool. There's no modern materials inside of it at all. There's no waterproof layers and stuff like that. Nothing. It's just wool. So what I thought we'd do is we'd test Gore-Tex against wool. This is another one, basically just like the one I'm wearing, just minus the zipper. No zipper on this one. I thought what we'd do is we'd set them out in the pouring rain and we'd put a roll of toilet paper in the hoods of each one, and we'd see how each one fares at the end of the day. So I'm just gonna open up rolls of toilet paper in this very scientific experiment. Completely dry roll of toilet paper. Another completely dry roll of toilet paper. We're gonna stick these in the hoods of these garments. This is a Gore-Tex North Face anorak. Not sure exactly what they call it, but I've had this one for a while now, and it works. It does keep the rain out, but I found that eventually you get wet if you're in the pouring rain for long enough. I've kind of found that to be true with everything, really. So I'll just put this in the hood like that, right there, and maybe I'll just set the roll of toilet paper out in the rain like that, and I'll do exactly the same thing with this wool cloak like that. So I've just got the single layer on both of them, a single layer of the Gore-Tex and a single layer of the wool. We'll set these out in the pouring rain right now and we'll see how they fare. Now, I'm honestly not sure which one of those is going to win under these circumstances. I don't know. I know for a fact that I have worn this out in the pouring rain for hours and stayed warm and dry. I know for a fact that I have slept outside all night long in the pouring rain harder than this right now. I have slept outside in the wintertime. It was in the high 40s with just a wool blanket as my only source of shelter. I did not build some sort of bushcrafty mattress. No lean-to shelters or tarps or tents, nothing. All I did was wrap up in a wool blanket and I was able to endure the night. I hardly even shivered. Did not get wet the next morning. I was wearing wool, like full disclosure. I had a wool shirt on underneath, maybe 2 layers of wool. I had like a long sleeve wool base layer and then a long sleeve like button-up shirt, similar to kind of what I'm wearing right now. This one's not wool, but you get the idea. And I made it all night long. I don't even think I really shivered. I was not comfortable. I was just kind of laying on the wet, soppy ground, wrapped up in a blanket or leaning up against a tree most of the night. But I did not suffer hypothermia. And if you were left out exposed without that wool blanket, if you were just out there in your normal clothing, for example, in a pair of blue jeans and a t-shirt, you would 100% get hypothermic in those situations. A little bit of breeze in the wet, nasty 48-degree temperatures that we were experiencing, 100% hypothermia situation right there. Now, yes, wool is heavier than any of your Gore-Tex fabrics. Yes, 100% sure of that. It's bulkier, it takes up more space. So if you're trying to fit it in a pack and you've got a lot of other supplies and gear in there, yes, it's gonna take up more space. You're gonna need a larger pack to accommodate that bigger garment. Of course, a lot of your survival experts out there are gonna throw out terms like hydrophobic and hydrophilic and all of that. None of that really matters to me. None of the science really matters to me. What matters to me is that it works or it doesn't work. It can or it can't. It will or it won't. It does or it does not. That's what I'm excited about. That's what I'm after. And that's what this little scientific experiment is all about. So I'm going to stay outside pretty much all day, dressed like I am right now. I do not have wool base layers on. I'm wearing cotton pretty much. And I think this is some sort of cotton synthetic blend right here. The cotton bandana around my neck, right? It's pretty warm out right now. I'd say the temperature is probably in the mid to high 50s. That's my guess. It's really hard to tell. But all I'm going to do is just wear this wool bush shirt right here, and I'm sure that I'll be just fine all day long, and we can see how wet I am underneath. Standard rubber boots on right there, and then my True Spec expedition pants that I pretty much always wear. And I'm just gonna wear this right here, and I'm gonna stay dry and I'm gonna stay warm. I'm too warm right now, actually, and that's why I've got this thing unzipped. I should probably take this hood off, but I'm just trying to stay dry. I'm gonna go do some work on the other side of the creek, and I'm just gonna stay out in the elements all day long. Now, here's the really cool thing about wool as well. Yes, it's heavier and bulkier, but it still breathes. It allows your perspiration to exit your body and doesn't trap it near your body, which is really important, because if you're active and you're out moving about in conditions like this, you could put rain gear on, but you'll sweat and soak yourself from the inside out because the temperature is relatively warm. And that is a problem, because if you get wet with sweat, there's really no point in wearing rain gear in the first place. Like in the summertime, for example, I don't wear rain gear, generally speaking, unless I'm just stationary at camp or something, and I just don't feel like getting drowned like a rat. I don't wear rain gear. I'll just get wet and then make sure I have a spare change of clothing to dry in, to dress in, to change into if I plan on spending the night out. I'll just strip off that nasty wet layer I've been poured on all day, because the temperature is 90 degrees outside. And if you wear rain gear, you're gonna get sweaty and soaking wet anyway. I'll just change into a dry layer and crawl into my hammock or whatever underneath the tarp, and then put those nasty wet clothes on again the next day. That's generally speaking the best way to do it if you're trying to travel light with minimal gear. Guys, what you see behind me right here is my gym. This is where I work out most of the time. Sometimes I work out over at the barn, but this is where I typically work out now. I've kind of transitioned over here to my outdoor gym facility. By the time I would drive to a gym, I don't have a gym membership. By the time I would drive to a gym, I could be done with my workout if I work out at home. So that's what I do. I have very little equipment. I've got a set of rings. I've got some kettlebells. I've got an old tractor tire, a sledgehammer. I've got a medicine ball, and then I've got a little bit of weights. I've got a barbell and some bumper plates. But basically what you see there is what I use to get all of my fitness regiment completed. Very little equipment, and you can achieve elite levels of fitness with almost no equipment whatsoever. You just need space and the will to get your body moving. If you're interested in physical training and being prepared for whatever life may throw at you, make sure that you subscribe to my new channel. It's called Fit on 3. I've got a link in the description below, and I'll also put it in the comment section. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you get updated on all the workouts and stuff that I'm doing, and I'd love it if you join in. Over here on the other side of the creek at my tent platform that I recently finished up and kind of temporarily rigged up the canvas wall tent, and I got to get a small little set of steps right here, so I'm just going to do some quick measurements. Now, there's some things that wool and synthetics are just not good for, like cleaning a camera lens, for example. It's one of the reasons why I'm wearing this bandana around my neck. It just comes in pretty dang handy for a lot of different things. And there's, an improvised bandage, for example. If you want something absorbent, wool and synthetics are not your friend. You don't want that. That camera lens is still dirty. Wool and synthetics are not absorbent. So if you need something to towel off with, if you need an improvised bandage to absorb the blood, if you need something like that, cotton is going to be by far, in a way, the best choice for that. Now, generally speaking, I don't like synthetics at all. I'm trying to get away from them for the most part. I want cotton and linens and wools and natural fibers touching my skin, if at all possible. In today's modern world, You know, we're surrounded by synthetics all day, every single day. And they're generally cheaper. They're more durable oftentimes, and they just last forever. Like I've got t-shirts that are like a synthetic cotton blend that I've had for forever, way over 10 years, 15 years. I've had some of these synthetic cotton blend t-shirts. And so there's no question that they just last a long time. Like my pants, these pants are a cotton synthetic blend, and they are really durable and they last a long time. Got wool base layer shirts that don't wear very long. They get holes in them, small little knits that spread, and they're really expensive. A really good quality wool base layer, you're gonna pay for it. It's gonna be expensive. The trade-off is that it dries really fast. It wicks away the moisture away from your body. It'll dry on you, which is fantastic. I've gone to bed soaking wet with a wool shirt on and wool underwear. I've gotten my hammock completely soaking wet, and by morning I was dry, and it was still actively raining outside, which is amazing. Just my body heat was able to dry out that fabric. But again, like I said, it doesn't wear that well. It wears out quicker. So I have found that anything under a 200 weight, 150 absolute minimum weight on wool base layers, anything under that just wears out really fast and gets a whole bunch of holes in it. So that would be my recommendation. I've tried icebreakers and Mara wool. Both are really good. I would approve of both of those choices. A cotton t-shirt in this environment, if you were to be out here and stuck soaking wet in the rain, a cotton t-shirt's never gonna dry out. It's gonna get nasty and funky. And that's the other thing about wool, is it doesn't stink. I've literally worn the same wool t-shirt for a month straight. Literally every single day, 1 month, a wool t-shirt, and it never smelled. I smelled terrible, but the wool did not. It has some very interesting antimicrobial features that your synthetics definitely don't have. If you wear a synthetic shirt, even for 1 day, and get it all sweaty and nasty and try to wear it again the next day, you guys know how nasty that is. That's a funky shirt, and no one wants to be around that. You got to burn the thing. So for that reason, wool, again, for the win, and then cotton is superior in that aspect as well. Rain has slowed down a little bit, but as you can see, we're still getting effectively wet out here. The science continues, my friends. Another great aspect of a bush shirt like this one's made by Swan Dry, if I didn't mention that already, and I really like it. I've had it for several years now, and have really been enjoying wearing it in the nasty weather like this. It's pretty great. But another good aspect of it is it's long enough where it basically goes down to your knees and covers the upper parts of your legs that oftentimes when you're walking in the rain get really wet. You're walking through brush and stuff like that, and tall grass and weeds and whatever. That part of your legs, your knees and your upper thighs gets really wet. And this protects that. And also, I'm sitting on it right now. I'm a 5'10" guy. I'm not a gigantor. If I was much taller, this might not be a thing. But I'm kind of your average human. And I'm sitting on the wool layer right now instead of on this wet picnic table. So that's really nice. That's a nice feature. Now, what I would suggest is that you don't take my word for any of this. Regardless of how our toilet paper test works out at the end of the day, I suggest that you don't take my word for any of it. You should go out and test this stuff for yourself. I'm not saying wad up, a wool blanket, wool shirt, and around a roll of toilet paper like I am, but I'm saying try different materials, experiment with different things, and get out in the elements and see how they fare. Because without that, you won't really know. Don't take my word for it. Don't trust 100% what I say. I'm a fairly trustworthy guy, and I'm not lying to you. But you should still get out and experiment with this stuff for yourself. Don't just trust what you read on the internet or in some magazine or a blog post. Get out there and try this stuff out for yourself. Whoops. Well, canoe's unloaded. Nothing to see here. I'm way too athletic and agile, coordinated for something like that to happen. Don't worry, I can edit that out. the rain's back. Perfect. Soak these things. I was afraid for a minute there I'm gonna have to get the hose out. I'd rather do it the natural way if possible. Yeah, now the rain's coming. How do you think our toilet paper's holding up? Any guesses? Any guesses? I can tell you which one looks warmer than this drowned Gore-Tex one here. That one looks a lot warmer. I don't know if it's drier, but it looks warmer. It's got some water puddled up in it. No puddles of water on this one, but does that just mean that it's absorbing all of the water? Is that what it means? So I'm actually in the process of acquiring some wool blankets, and we're going to be manufacturing some wool ponchos, basically. So basically, imagine a rain poncho, a normal, typical rain poncho, a mil-spec poncho. Imagine that made out of wool. And that's essentially what we're trying to create, and they're going to be pretty amazing, actually, because of its insulative properties and its ability to insulate even when it's wet. And just the warmth and the durability of it. It's going to be really, really nice, and it's something that I want to use on a regular basis. Regardless of if any of you feel like it's a valuable product, I'm going to be really grateful to have one, and I'll be using it all the time, especially in the colder months. But even in the warmer months of the year, it gets down in the 50s, sometimes a little bit lower at night up here in the mountains. It's depending on the elevation that you're at, and it's really nice to have that extra warming layer, even if the days are really, really hot. So you can look forward to seeing those come to fruition here really soon. I'm working on sourcing the blankets. We're going to have them up on my website, which is goon3.com, GOON3. It looks like Goon 3. So be part of the Goon Squad. Check out goon3.com. Lots of good stuff coming that way, including products like the wool poncho. We are officially getting soaked now. It's coming down. It's been raining consistently for the past 20 minutes or so, like pretty hard like this. Everything is going to be wet. I don't know if either one of them is going to hold up to the rain. We shall see. All right, this has been hours, guys. This has been at least 3 hours, maybe 4 hours. I've had this out here in the rain. It's been raining like it is right now, pretty steady the entire time. It's the moment of truth. Let's see how we did. Here we go. Under the wool hood. Wow. Look at that. I don't know for sure, but I think that's bone dry. I mean, I think that, look at that. I think that's bone dry. I'm trying not to get my wet hands on it. I don't think there's even a drop of water that touched this roll of toilet paper. I would say that was extremely effective as well. I don't think that's water. I think that's just a wrinkle in the paper. So I would say the inside of both of these garments is bone dry. Look at that. It feels, the inside of the Gore-Tex feels damp. Like it feels cool, cold. The inside of the wool feels bone dry and warm. Quite a difference. It's a very drastic difference, the way each one of these feels on the inside. My hand, my left hand here would get warm. It would get warmer in these conditions. My right hand here would get cold. What?
It's all Maggie's butt. Peek over there.
In the hole. Is she getting eggs? What are you doing up there?
Staying dry too.
So both of these, in these conditions, were extremely effective at keeping our toilet paper dry. I mean, they didn't get wet at all. Like, not even a little bit of moisture got onto that toilet paper, which is amazing. Just 100% wool, and we got our fancy Gore-Tex here. Now, obviously, this one is heavier. There's a significant amount more material in this right here than there is this one. But as far as insulating and as far as waterproofness and keeping you warm and dry, the wool is pretty amazing. 100% dry. No moisture on the toilet paper, either one at all. That's pretty good. And it was just sitting out there on the picnic table in the rain, in the pouring rain like this for hours. I've been wearing this. I've been out in the rain the entire time as well. Let's see how I look. I'm under shelter a little bit here. Now I've been kneeling, I've been doing other videos as well while I've been waiting on this toilet paper experience. I've been kneeling on the wet ground a lot, sitting on the wet ground a whole bunch. So my pants are pretty wet. But my upper body, I think, is dry. This is not a wool shirt, and I'm wearing just a t-shirt underneath it. Let's see how it looks. Just a brown cotton t-shirt. Wore this on purpose to see, are my shoulders wet? Does it look wet?
Only at the very top.
Where at?
Right here around the neckline.
Right around my neck. Got a little bit of water in there, and probably around the seam perhaps on the wool jacket. Who knows? But anyway, my shoulders are completely dry. My torso is completely dry, and I've been out in the rain in this mess all morning long, and it's afternoon now. Concept, I think, proven right there. Love to hear what you guys think about this in the comments section. Please hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Leave lots of comments. Any comment will do. And until next time, friends, what's the worst that could happen? Let's just go on through.